Do you want to play the deadliest game? Do you have the guts to play the deadliest game? Not everybody does, but some do. It's a deadly game. It's the most dangerous game. There's an old story called The Most Dangerous Game. It's about a Russian who has an island. He has his own private island, and on this island he unleashes men to run for their lives while he hunts them for sport. And he takes great pride in it because he considers man the only prey worthy of his talents as a hunter. So that's a deadly game, but it's not the most dangerous game. It's not the deadliest game. The deadliest game is played on a bigger stage, a much bigger stage. Shakespeare said all the world is a stage. And on a Shakespearean play, on the stage of a Shakespearean play, men get run through with swords. They are slain in his historical plays as well as in his tragedies. Men are slayed with swords. So it's a deadly game, but it's getting close to the deadliest game. The deadliest game. You look at some of his plays. You're playing the deadliest game. Take, for example, however, let's look at the real world all around us in history, real history, not just Shakespearean interpretations. But let's look at William Casey, former CIA director, and how he feels about the most dangerous game, the deadliest game, and how it's played. How do you play that game? And what is that game? Well, Casey says, I want to see one place on this globe where we can checkmate them. Okay, so he's talking about a time when he sees the Russian, back during the Reagan era, he sees the Russians seizing South Yemen, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, and he's saying, look, they're surrounding the oil. They're checkmating the oil. We need to do the same thing. Show me one place on this globe where we can checkmate them. So it goes back to this Cold War mentality where we're playing chess and all the world is a stage, and we're putting our pawns and our rooks and our knights out there and making moves. And it's a grand game. It's a deadly game. You look at Al Haig during that time. Strike at Cuba, quarantine Cuba, blockade it, put a noose around it. So his idea was that they needed to do a checkmate in Cuba. Casey didn't go for it. He was thinking, he was looking back at Vietnam saying, look, we played chess in Vietnam, but it didn't go too well. We tried to checkmate the communists there, and 50,000 pawns were lost. Those were American soldiers, and there were political consequences, which perhaps that was I don't know. Sometimes you wonder. I wonder what motivates these chess players. Is it political cost that they look at? But 50,000 pawns were lost, and are they still playing the game? What's it all about? Is it Cold War politics, or is it the thrill? I don't know. I think the question could be asked. You look at James Angleton. What did he say? He said, "We are masters of the world. We're masters of the world," which is quite a statement to make. I mean, let's just hypothesize for a moment that God was the master of the world. Wouldn't that affect the way that you played the game? Wouldn't that bring in the element of humility and maybe change some of the moves? Let you look at today. Who's playing the game today? How's it being played today? Is it being played with humility? You look at the Ukraine, and that's the new chessboard, evidently. As Casey once said, I want to see one place on this globe where we can checkmate them. I think it kind of looks like maybe these days the new place to checkmate them, the Russians, would be Ukraine. In fact, the administration has said that the goal is to weaken Vladimir Putin, if not get rid of him. So how's it going? And how many pawns have been lost there? Well, somewhere along the line, they seem to have learned the lesson that there's political cost if you lose American soldiers. And so maybe somebody said, hey, we don't need Well, let's just train the Russians. We'll arm and equip the Ukrainians to fight the Russians, and we won't be risking our own pawns. And so now the Ukrainians have lost 250,000, according to reports I've heard. 200, and that's 250,000 boys and men, fathers, brothers, uncles, pawns, dead. It's a lot of pawns. How's it going? Is it working out? Is it working out? Are these masters of the game? Are they truly masters of the game? Well, let's see. Their stated goal is to weaken Vladimir Putin. By the way, the Russians are, according to reports, are losing 1 for every 8 Ukrainians. So they're winning. And how's it going? Well, the Russians are stronger than they've ever been. They're stronger than they've ever been. Their military is a lot stronger than it was a year ago. A lot stronger than it was a year ago. Their economy is much stronger than it was recently, ever. They're for the first time ever, they're unified with China. Who's playing this game? Who are the masters of the game here? Who are the great chess players? And what's the cost? Is it worth the cost? They're playing. Who's benefiting from all of this? We don't, what happened to all the, evidently, according to reports, billions of dollars of lost cash and equipment? Who benefits from that? I have no idea. All I know is what I hear in the media, which is that some of that is being run through Caribbean crypto and benefiting a certain political party. So it seems like a sinister game. It seems like things aren't going very well, and yet they keep playing. They keep playing. So I hope they make good decisions. I hope they do. And I hope, as General Patton once said, never fight a war you can't win. Thanks for watching. Fight on. God bless.